And welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, aka B Ball Archives. And once again, it's just me, actually. I was about to say, once again, I got the bums in the house, but it's just me coming at you live right after a Spurs victory against the Orlando Magic. A lot to unpack about this game. Mostly good, some head scratching things definitely were happening tonight, but ultimately, definitely a win you want to see the guys go out and get, especially after a frustrating loss to the Charlotte Hornets yesterday. So this was definitely a step in the right direction in terms of getting back on track. But I think first and foremost, this was definitely a night where you thought the guys were going to step out there and be a little bit sluggish. You knew after the really severe weather that happened in Charlotte, they weren't able to leave Charlotte on time. The game was supposed to be at 3 today. It was delayed till 6 and then it was pushed back again until 8. So if there was ever a game where I was like, okay, the Spurs are going to start off sluggish. They're going to start off a little bit lackadaisical. And that was not the case at all. We saw really aggressive play right out of the start of the game. Every single Spurs player seemed to have a sense of urgency going into this game. I know it was a get right game, but amazing first quarter, facilitating the ball, slashing, dishing, finding open players, free throw line extended corner. We were really, really looking for great shots. Wemby, Keldon, Harper, once again, just absolutely coming to play today. And that really was a signal for things to come. That was a quarter where we won the free throw battle 10-0. And when we look at the overall stats for the entire game, that was just like I was saying, that was essentially a taste of things to come. And I love seeing us play such an aggressive brand of basketball to where the refs just have to call it. They have to call that whistle. And you see us win that free throw battle 32-15. And when we do that, we just give us a lot of opportunities to get easy buckets from the line. So I think the Spurs did an amazing job at continuously just giving themselves easy opportunities for points all throughout the game. And that was really something, even though we did take our foot off the gas after that first quarter. We did let them get back into it. We let Desmond Bane get to his spots a little bit too regularly. Paolo Banchero, we stopped forcing him to being a mid-range jump shooter a little. Like that's my main key when I look at a game like Spurs versus Orlando Magic. I want to make Paolo Banchero a mid-range shooter, and we didn't necessarily do that a lot tonight. Even though we did really good things, like we won the rebounding battle, we played really physical offense, getting the ball into the lane, and really, like I said, forcing the refs to make a lot of foul calls in our favor. But I wanted to see Paulo Banchero forced to be a jump shooter more often than he was tonight. I felt like we were still giving him opportunities to create offense off the dribble. And when you have somebody that's 6'10", 255 pounds like Paulo Banchero, who has a smooth dribble and can get to the rim, yeah, you don't want to give him those opportunities. And there was some chances that he had where we were making him shoot off balance, fadeaway shots, and every time he did that, I had a smile on my face because that's exactly how we want one of those possessions to end. So that was one of my big keys for victory tonight, and we did a decent job of that. But ultimately, we did a lot of other things positive that overwhelmed the Orlando Magic in general. So I think that, like I said earlier, this was every we had every opportunity to complain about the weather, the delays, but we didn't. We started out the game very aggressive, with the strong sense of urgency, and I loved what we did from there. So, yeah, both ends of the floor. I think that we need to start with the play from Victor Wembanyama tonight. I know I feel like a broken record every single time we start with the player breakdowns. I am generally starting with Victor because he's usually the heart and soul of what we got going on. But 25 points tonight, 7 of 13 from the field, 9 stocks. 9 stocks, 5 blocks, 4 steals, absolute terror defensively, active hands all over the place, chase down blocks, absolutely volleyball style blocks when you look at some of those blocks that he was sending off the glass. So this is definitely a game that I feel like Victor needed to have. He was 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, but it didn't really matter because he was 7 for 9 inside of 12 feet. And I think that's more so what you're going to see from Victor moving forward. He's going to shoot 2, 3, 4 threes. If those aren't hitting, he's going to go to his bread and butter, which is his paint production. And so I think that's largely what we're going to see. And that's what we've seen over the past couple of weeks, and it's led to a lot of success. So, I really love the play from Victor tonight, but also I view this largely as a team win. When you look at 6 guys in double figures and a lot of really efficient offense at play here, there's a lot to like. And I also have to go next to Dylan Harper. I feel like this is his third game in a row where he's able to get some footing. He's able to find some comfortability, some really good mid-range attempts. He's slashing, finding space within the lane, and he's creating opportunities for others. He had that really, really good drive to the bucket and then found Carter Bryant cutting, and then an emphatic dunk from CB, which is one of those plays that not only obviously gets us points, but shifts the momentum. And I feel like Dylan Harper has been involved in a lot of those plays over the past week or so, and I think it's a sign of things to come. He's finding himself within our offense. He's finding that comfortability, playing at his own speed, and I love to see it because all we really need to see now is that three-point shot develop. That's the only thing that I'm questioning about his game right now is when is Dylan Harper going to be a league average three-point shooter? But questioning that mid rookie season, I think is almost unreasonable. So I think that we need to have realistic expectations, see what Dylan Harper is doing right now, and then be very excited about it because he's affecting winning a basketball here and now. And another good game from Dylan Harper and definitely big play from him tonight. 15 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block. Definitely good play from Dylan Harper. Uh, but also just a really good play from the starters in general. Devin Vassell, 7 for 13. De'Aaron Fox, 7 for 14. I really, really like what both of them were doing, letting the offense come to them. I didn't really feel like they were doing too many forcing forcing hard offensive shots. And there was a couple of times where Devin Vassell had a couple of faders where I was like, okay, this looks like Devin Vassell a couple of years back where he's just really taking tough shots just to take tough shots. So I like that we were able to kind of curve that and start to only focus on in rhythm attempts. And I think it led to us just getting good shots down the stretch and shooting efficiently. So I really think that this was a master class of how to finish out the game and how to make sure your second half is your best half. And very proud of how the team ended up performing tonight. There was yeah, a lot to like, and especially when you look at our free throw opportunities. I'm going to harp on again one more time our aggressiveness. When you get 2 feet into the paint and you create that contact, you make the refs make the calls. And when we get those free throw attempts and we win the free throw battles, more often than not, when you couple that with the fact that we won the rebounding battle, we are the aggressors. We are the team that's setting the tone. We are setting the pace. And so when we win these battles, I feel like it's almost impossible for us to lose, even on a night where they take 9 more shots, where they have more possessions than we do. We are still able to walk away with the win. And it's nice when the Spurs play that aggressive of a game, and it just leads to some good success. But yeah, definitely a couple other things I wanted to get to. Desmond Bane kind of bothered me a couple times tonight. He had a couple of cheap shots on Victor, and it's just really tough for me to see that because Victor always is getting hacked and slashed and when he gets to the paint. He's always getting an arm on his forearm. He's always getting the hack on the shoulder or the smack upside the head when he's going up for a shot. He's consistently getting that contact. So when he's running down court and Desmond Bain just throws out the needless forearm slash shoulder shiver at him, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me and just reads like it's a cheap shot. So I'm not saying Desmond Bane's a dirty player, but I just don't like to see that kind of dirty play on Wemby when he's just simply running down the court in transition. It's just not a big deal, and I think yeah, Wemby needs to be protected a little bit more than that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Bane was playing a little bit dirty today. Yeah, it just seemed like there was a couple of times where he would stick a leg out and it kind of looked like a trip, kind of didn't look like a trip, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I don't know what to think about that." But then that shoulder shiver that he threw at Wemby, I was immediately like, "All right, he's frustrated about something and it's causing him to lash out a little bit." And just hope no one gets hurt, and I'm glad no one did. But hopefully, some Orlando Magic's fans, hopefully their feelings are hurt right now. That's what I want. Um, Couple other takeaways from this game. There was a couple of big fourth quarter moments from Carter Bryant that I was very pleased with. We talked earlier about that emphatic dunk, that dunk where he was slashing into the lane, caught it one step and just boomed, and that was one of those momentum boosts. But also a really big knockdown three, which I want to see more of. He was an amazing catch and shoot 3-point guy when he was at Arizona. I want to see that further translate to San Antonio Spurs success. So I think that is a promising step in the right direction. Not only hitting a big time three, but hitting that three when it matters the most in the fourth quarter. So Carter Bryant, big time three. Yeah, you love Bane as a player, but yeah, what's with him? Yeah, I mean, I absolutely, I'm right there with you. Big time shooter. I love his ability to space the floor, but when you make head scratching plays like that, it's hard to justify that kind of behavior. It really is. But yeah, there was a couple of really fantastic plays tonight that I want to highlight. And I think one of them is that play that Victor had when he faced up Paulo Banquero and he literally just spun, faced right to the basket, jab step, spun into the lane, finished left hand right over the top of him. And that is exactly what you could see Victor do every single night. And I think that when I look at him do that to a young superstar like Paulo Banquero, what's to stop him from doing that to anyone else? Orlando Magic fan here. Heard you're talking some CRP. Nope. None of that here. Just talking some straight up facts, my dude. San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, we just played nice, composed basketball late in the game, and it led to a victory. And I felt like that first quarter that we had just put y'all in a big hole for the rest of the game. When you start out the game at a deficit like that, even though you had a nice bounce back second quarter, it just really creates an uphill battle that's really tough to win, especially with a team that's as defensively versatile as we are. So yeah, your Orlando Magic were always in an uphill situation there, and that's largely what we saw tonight is the Spurs winning the rebounding battle, a lot of the effort battle, and I was very thrilled to see it because it was on a night. It was coming off of a night where we got dominated on the glass by the Hornets, and the Hornets really took it to us in a lot of ways where I was not expecting. So on a night where the game was delayed multiple times and we should have come out with some sluggish energy. We didn't. So I think it's really positive to see the Spurs bounce back in that way. I know I'm as shocked to see it as you are, Marcus. I know, absolutely. I haven't had a single Orlando Magic fan in here all year long. Had fans from a lot of different fan bases hop in here. I've had Celtics fans, I've had Knicks fans in here. Have definitely had some Golden State Warrior fans in here, but never an Orlando Magic fan. Absolutely. Appreciate you for being here, my dude. You say Wemby's weakness is being physical. You think he's going to last in playoff semi-game series. I think that this is very tired rhetoric saying that he's going to get hurt, he's going to break down. I think that he's going to break down at a comparable rate to any NBA player. I think that when you look at his physicality and his ability to take fouls while still finishing, I think that it's one of the best in the league. So to say that he would break down in that way, I just don't see it. And there's not a ton of evidence to suggest that. And, especially a couple games ago, when you look at how physical the Rockets were being with Wemby, they were literally double teaming him, pinching him in the high post, doing every single thing they could to fight him as soon as he got the ball. And he was still able to fight through it and lead us to a really comprehensive win. So I'm very pleased with where we are moving forward. And even if teams are able to double team him and get really physical with him, I think he's going to put them in foul trouble. I think he's going to go to the line 15 times and he's going to be an 80-85% free throw shooter and he's going to punish teams for it. So I mean, I view that as that's gonna end up hurting other teams. If you're physical with Wemby, he's gonna take it to you. But that's a lot of what makes us a really successful team is Wemby can take that free throw shooting and really punish teams with it. Orlando's weakness is its roster. That's hilarious. I do like Orlando. I mean, and they were missing Franz Wagner tonight, so I don't want to say that Franz doesn't make a difference. But we were also missing Stefan Castle, so I feel like we both had very large integral pieces missing from what makes both of our teams successful. So I yeah, I want to, but I also view that as somewhat even. But at the end of the day, big time Spurs win tonight. Needed that get right game after that disappointing loss yesterday. And it's exactly the type of fighting win that you want to see when you win the rebounding battle the way we did. You get those second chance points, you win the offensive rebounding battle, which is a battle that we are not really used to seeing. uh we're not really winning that often because some of our main offensive rebounders, which is, it should be Wemby. He's spending a lot of time on offense outside the 3-point line. And it's hard to get those offensive rebounds when you're 23, 24, 25 feet away from the basket. But was not the case tonight. Was not the case tonight. I'm very thrilled with how he played tonight. And let's just hope we take that momentum moving forward. Just taking a look at the Spurs schedule moving forward, we have the Thunder on Wednesday. I think that our our games against the Thunder have been well chronicled, and any time that the Spurs play the Thunder, it's going to be must-see TV, and, yeah, it's gonna be high-profile basketball, so I'm excited to see, what we are able to do against OKC on Wednesday. I think that, they're tired of hearing, "Hey, the Spurs have your number, the Spurs have your number," so I'm expecting SGA and Chet to come out with full vengeance, ready to get that win, but I think that they're going to have a tough time here in San Antonio on Wednesday. So I'm really looking forward to that game. but also that's the first night of a back-to-back. Then we are playing in Thursday in Dallas. So I feel like that's also going to be another great game. I'm very, very pumped for the next two games we have this week. Very, very exciting stuff moving forward. Absolutely, Robert. OKC next and Mavs. Yes, there's going to be blood in the water. I'm very, very pumped about it. Whenever I'm looking at the schedule and I see two teams like this in a singular week, it's a toughness thing because even if you get this win on Wednesday, you're gonna have to turn around and battle. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how we take this momentum moving forward. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, Castle needs to handle the ball better. You get frustrated with his high turnovers. Yeah. Yeah, he's able to take over the game with his energy. Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, I agree with all that. There's a lot to like about his game. It's just the word I would use to describe it is raw. It just needs to be refined. All of the tools are there. It's his ability to get to the rim, his shot mechanics, everything from his pace of play to his step back, his ability to find open people, to pass people open, it's all really, really good. It just needs to be refined, and some of those turnovers need to be limited and I just polished would be also a good word. But that being said, that just takes time. You can't just expect people to be polished in their first two, even 3 seasons. It's a nonstop growing process. Some players, they're not even fully developed until 7, 8, 9 seasons, and then we see them become the player they were always meant to be. So yeah, we have a lot on the horizon as Spurs fans, a lot to be very fortunate, a lot to be blessed about. And so I'm very I'm very thrilled not only where we're looking at when we're looking at this week, but just moving forward in general. I'm really hoping that the Nuggets lose and Mitch Johnson can be the all-star game head coach, but we shall see about that. Can't wait for Wemby to not acknowledge any rivalry between him and Chet that media brings up because he knows Chet is the third best player on his team. Absolutely. Yes, it's not a rivalry. And to your point, I agree. Chet's the third best player on his team. And there was even, times during their championship stretch where uh he was the fourth best player on the team. He would get outplayed by Alex Caruso on both ends of the floor. And I'm like, Chet, are you even the third best player on your team? So the fact that they consistently get brought up together in rivalry talks is damn near laughable. You're pulling for Carter, but I think going to the G League is giving him some confidence. I agree wholeheartedly. It's really hard for anybody to get in rhythm when you're playing like a handful of minutes a game. You're getting a couple of shots, but then you go to the G League and you're playing 30 minutes. You're going to get 15 plus shots. And it's a situation where you can feel like the man. And that's how you get that momentum. That's how you can get in rhythm. Then all of a sudden you take that in rhythm player, put him back on the Spurs, put him in limited minutes, and then you're still seeing that uptick in production. And that's largely what we saw tonight. And and I think that when you see him hit that big time three in the fourth quarter and he slashed and he got that big dunk, he wasn't fumbling that time. He wasn't losing the ball going up for that dunk. That's the Carter Bryant we want to see. Absolutely. A lot to like about the game tonight. A lot to like about the game tonight. It's always go Spurs go around here. Absolutely. I'm going to keep it positive tonight. I'm not even going to dunk. I'm not even going to dunk tonight. Well, maybe a small dunk. I was at my niece's basketball game yesterday morning, and the coach for the opposite team literally was she was like doing like delay of games every like 10 seconds. She would like run out on the court and try to make subs and just do the weirdest, most unorthodox stuff I've ever seen in a basketball game. So I'm gonna dunk on that woman. I'm not gonna name her by name, but crazy coaching, absolutely crazy coaching. But guys, that being said, this was a good episode of the Baseline Bums podcast, breaking down the Spurs magic game. I love going through a box score and just seeing a lot of really good positive things to talk about when we talk about winning the rebounding battle, when we talk about being aggressive and winning the free throw battle, when we talk about good games from Wemby on both sides of the court, really efficient play from inside the lane, but also 9 stocks when we talk about 6 guys in double figures and really just bringing it not only off the bench, but when we talk about our starters really, really showing, uh, I would say, really just showing an example of what efficient basketball needs to be. Absolutely. Anytime. I will. Honestly, I'm a sneak in a dunk on Bane because how dare he shoulder how dare he shoulder Wemby in transition like that? I'm gonna have to dunk on Desmond Bane at least a little bit because he's got little T-Rex arms. Why are you sticking out those little T-Rex arms and trying to hit Wemby like that? I can't condone it because, like I said earlier, Wemby gets fouled enough. He goes up for a shot, his forearms get nailed. He's up for a rebound, people are hanging on his shoulders. When he's running in transition, don't hit him with the shoulder like that. Don't stick out your T-Rex nub and try to hit him. Come on, Bane. You should be better than that, but you're gonna get dunked on. Just honestly dunk on yourself because you took the L tonight. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gosh, wins like this fire me up because I was getting fired. I mean, I want to defend Wemby out there. I don't want to see people fucking with him. But I mean, anytime you're seeing Harrison Ingram at the end of the game, the last laugh, we're having it. Yeah, it's Orlando Magic taking that L big time. Uh, but that being said, this has been a great episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. I have been, really loving doing a lot of these post game episodes with more regularity this season. Especially on nights when we get a really really good Spurs win like tonight. But even on nights when we're getting a loss, I still love getting on here and talking Spurs hoops. Either way, it's absolutely wonderful to have this great community to get on here and talk Spurs hoops with. I love doing this podcast, but you guys make this experience truly, truly what it is. It would not be the same without you. Whether you're watching the lives on YouTube, you're watching the clips on Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcast, wherever you're watching the Baseline Bums, wherever you're experiencing the Spurs breakdown stuff, I really appreciate you following along because this really does make it feel more like a Spurs family. And I couldn't appreciate and thank y'all enough. But that being said, I'm going to hop off here and end this episode the same way I end all episodes. And that's with a go Spurs. Go. Bum, 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 Spurs win. Bum, 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 Spurs.